Many investors in tech space said that mental health space is really overcrowded.
Yeah, the market is pretty crowded. AI chatbots, mental health chatbots, etc., etc. If you build your product only with AI, it's a bad product.
What would you say mentally you were least prepared for when building your startup?
Stop lying to myself. Stop pretending. Because everybody are better than me. Their language better, their achievements better. But afterwards, I understood that only that situation can moving you up.
According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 4 people will experience some kind of mental health issues in their lifetime. And of course, there are thousands of apps today trying to fix that. And while most of them give you the answers, what if the answer was already inside of you? Today, we're talking to Armen Arustamov, former professional tennis player and psychologist and the founder of Got It Live. It's an AI self-coaching app built on a technique used by astronauts, athletes, and special forces. So his thinking is you don't really need more content. You need to learn the right self-talk. So let's go. So Armen, welcome to Building Great Tech. Wonderful to have you today. Thanks so much for joining. So many investors in tech space said that mental health space is really overcrowded. Are they right or are they wrong?
They are right.
Why do you think they're right?
First of all, it depends on the point of view which you see on the process. If you see in terms of financial potential only, yeah, the market is pretty crowded, and there are a lot of solutions on the mental health apps market and software market, meditation apps, marketplaces which connect you with professionals, AI chatbots, mental health chatbots, etc., etc. But in the same time, I think there is some gaps, and one of the main gaps which I see personally, there's no tools which allows you to develop your natural human mental resistance or resilience, to not replace your psychological immunity, but build it. And we trying to fulfill this gap through our product.
Right. No, I love that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you studied the mental sort of resilience for living. You did psychology in the past. When you started building your startup, how did that theory work in real life?
It was very important for me personally, because in that time we had big problems in our business. I former co-founder of Tennis Academy, and we have some kind of issues with sales, with attract people there, and I start to think about the online business. And it was a lot of challenges for me. And then I went to Silicon Valley and be totally alone there. I didn't know anybody, but I felt that I supposed to be there. So it was very important for me. So I tried to create some technology which allows me to find the right solution, because I didn't have money for any coach or psychologist. Nobody cared about me in terms of investment opportunity. I didn't have any project this time. So, and I tried to coach myself, speaking to myself, asking questions and trying to find the right answers.
Hey guys, we're really hoping that you're enjoying this episode so far. And if you are, please like, subscribe, and follow. And if you really want to know more about who we are and what we do, go to buildinggreattech.com. Now let's go back to the episode. Okay, so you actually started coaching yourself, and that's how you built the platform that you have today.
I just using the voice recording on my iPhone. I started to explain my challenging situation that, and try to find the right answers on this. For example, I'm very nervous before my presentation, or because I did a lot of presentations that time. My English is not so perfect, but that time it wasn't at all. And I understand this time, in this moment, I understood that I have to challenging myself, and I set it up a lot of public presentation, offline presentations in 1 million Cup. It's kind of entrepreneurial communities around the country, but actually they are very amateur communities. They are old people, the two groups of people, old people and very young people who just only starting their business. That's why they selecting me. I apply for around 70 branches, and maybe 5 or 6 were selecting me for the presentation. So back into your question, I started to find my own tool to overcome my anxiety, depression, loneliness, etc. And the questioning, distance self-talk, when you're questioning to yourself, when you act as your own mental coach, worked pretty well.
Love that.
Really interesting. Yeah. So what would you say mentally you were least prepared for when like building your startup?
Least prepared for everything. Least prepared for. Yeah, it's a great question. Find the balance between surviving and creativity. Because in one moment you say, "Hey, I have only $700, and I don't have any more money to pay for the rent for the next month." And in the same time, I have to do some pitch and tell about how should I change the future, in front of investors. But in the same time, I need to care about my dinner, and and that was tough. That was tough. I think that's the main reason that entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Because in my previous life, in my corporate life, I worked in corporation world, in the several banks, in GlaxoSmithKline, a pharmaceutical company. So pretty good salary. I conducted business trainings for sales and presentation skills, etc. in Russian, but anyways. And then I decided to change everything. And it was challenging.
So how do you tackle that? How do you overcome that when there's nothing in the bank and then you have to go and stand in front of investors and say, everything's great, I'm going to change the world if I can just get to next week? How do you do that?
Yeah. I hate to remember this, by the way, but part of this, some of the challenges I have right now, also with 2 kids, 3 years old and 3 months. So, but that time was tougher. So I felt that I'm in the right place, totally in the right place, because if you want to do fashion, you need to go to Paris. If you want to do finance, you need to go to London or New York. If you want to do, I don't know, space things, you need to go to, I don't know, NASA center in Florida or in California. I mean, there is some centers in the world which can move you up, in your space, if you chose the right space. So I recognized that time that I'm in the right place, and I recognize that I have some money to come back, to my home country if it's needed. And that time I started to meet a lot of right people who started to believe in me. Yeah, and share my ideas. And I think this thing. It's the first,
Cool.
and for sure, and for sure, my professional experience. I mean, in professional tennis, gave me a lot. You know, it's a rule. For example, in tennis, it's a rule. You have to traveling a lot in different tournaments, and you have to lose, and lose. You travel to this city, you're losing. This city, you're losing, and in one moment you start to win. You know, and you just have to be very patient with this. It's
Like that. So you said like trust in the right place, the like network of people that you're around, and the experience of failing a lot.
Right place, right business, or like what you're doing, and the right people will come, I think. My challenge, my one of the main challenge was stop lying to myself, stop pretending that everything is great, you know. And it was tough because maybe it's the culture. I'm Armenian. I'm Russian Armenian. I'm Armenian from Asia, and then I went to Russia, and there is some culture of, you know, express, show off, you know, that hey, everything's good. I'm a rich person, blah blah blah. You know, I have everything. Yeah, and that time I changed my mindset of this.
Oh.
Okay, very interesting. So you had to stop pretending. I really like that. What did it feel like when you stopped pretending?
Oh, it hurts. It hurts. My self-esteem is going down because I recognize that, hey, who I am. I recognize not only my status, but my I feel like I'm on the psychotherapy session, you know. So weird. Oh my god. But if you want to dive deeper, okay, go ahead. Let's go. I can do this. Yeah, it hurts because you see the real picture of yourself, and you see the limited convictions that you have, that limits you. For example, in my previous life, I late always, you know, I didn't went in time to the event, or I did like everything in the last moment, you know. But when my project, before the app, I created the online course, which consisted from different topics, and it was the mental health or mental performance online course for athletes. And Founder Institute Accelerator, it's the most famous pre-seed accelerator in the world. Y Combinator 500 Startups, it's a seed accelerator, but it's early stage. Founder Institute, they selected my project, and I had to do a lot of assignments, weekly assignments, tons of work. And if you don't do this, you just quit, you know. And in that moment, I understood that I have to do some plan, you know. And yeah, changing skills, changing mindset. That's where my main challenges.
Cool. So. Okay, so you went to Silicon Valley. You were working on your product there. Seems like you met a lot of right people at the right time. When did you realize that you were onto something, that this could potentially work?
Honestly, I don't 100% realize right now. You know, it's a research. We are not unicorn so far, So I cannot say that, hey, I realized that I'm in the right place. From one side. From another side, I think it's a thing of levels. Your recognition or realization, it's a levels. I realized this for 50% maybe to this moment, and when you find some facts, like for example investments, I got some investments from very respectful people from Silicon. It were the Silicon Valley investors who are focusing especially on the healthcare business, on the healthcare startup. And this, our first lead investor, John Stewart, I very respect him. He is one of the first investor of Natera. It's a 29 billion valuation company right now. And I thought, hey, if I don't believe in myself, and very often, this guy believes in me. So it's something interesting. It creates some basis for me, to move forward. That time and right now, because I have a doubt all the time, including this time. A lot of doubts.
Nice.
Love that. And so, who is this product designed for?
Based on our observations, this is a high performers. It's a young professionals from 22, 23 to 45 years old who need to achieve big goals under regular stress and pressure. It's a technically and mentally advanced people who already try, I don't want to tell some names, but everybody knows the names of the apps, who already try a lot of apps and softwares for their mental health and mental performance, and they don't satisfy about this, because it's not enough for them to connecting with therapists online. It's not enough for them just listening meditation content. They can go to YouTube and listen all the content which they want. They don't satisfy to communicate with AI assistants like, a lot of assistants like a GPT, etc., or even with mental health assistants, because they give you advice. They don't customize to yourself. They are rushing to give you a solution. They don't remember your context about details of your family or goals, etc. So a lot of gaps, and in the same time they feel that they have a problem or challenges, and in the same time they feel that nobody knows them better than they do, and all the answers are in their head. They recognize this, and only one thing they need: the tool which allows them to get these solutions and answers out. And we're trying to become this tool.
Very cool. So how this methodology works, what is it called? I think I was reading on your website, it's something around distance self-talk or internal dialogue. How can you tell us a bit more about that method?
Sure. Yeah, everybody knows about the cognitive behavioral therapy. So there is a different direction of therapy: Gestalt, existential therapy, humanistic, psychoanalysis, etc., etc. And cognitive behavioral therapy, why it's very popular? Because it's understandable for Western people. And the self-talk, it's one of the technique of CBT, of cognitive behavioral therapy. But even very experienced therapists cannot repeat the technology of recording the dialogue, changing the voice, between, and organize the conversation between your two sub-personalities, between two roles like a coach and client. And we automate this process in our app. So it's a technique from cognitive behavioral therapy. First, second, there is several types of self-talk. For example, there is affirmation when you say to yourself something, you're an idiot, or you are a great person, let's go. It's very often happening. Yeah, it happens very often in individual sports, golf, tennis, swimming, because you don't have a chance to ask help from your coach. In boxing, you have, but in tennis, you don't have. And you are and you got crazy. You are like a crazy person. You start to talk to yourself. And usually what we recognize that usually your self-talk is negative and uncontrolled. And from this view, we try to fix the situation. And the second, we don't tell about we just using cognitive behavioral therapy technique. No, we combining this approach with technical solutions first, and with another areas of therapy and coaching, like existential coaching. So our AI coach asks you existential questions. Why did you do this? What the sense, what the meaning of your actions, etc., etc. We use positive therapy and a lot of things from coaching. We implemented also therapy and also coaching sessions into our AI when we speak about goals, potential, energy, yeah.
So practically, if I was to download the app, let's say today, what should I expect that will happen if I use this app?
My recommendation, don't expect anything. Just relax and go and just trust to your feelings and believe in your experience. Don't expect, because when you expect something, you just build some frames in your head. Don't build the frames, and that's the first key. And it's related not only with our tool, it's related with all the tools. Just relax, don't. I understand that it's pretty hard. It's complicated because we adults, we have our own experience, positive and negative. But the first key to try to relaxing and believe in your future experience without any anxiety or something.
And how do you know this method is working better than other techniques, like, with, let's say, Headspace or Calm? Like, what makes you believe that this is works differently?
Yeah, the second one, it works differently. We are not competitors with Calm and Headspace. For example, company can use Calm, and in the same time they can use our tool. We're like different types of help. Yeah, I think the truth is when you in terms of client, in terms of user, right, who has some challenges or goals, you have to try a lot of different types of tools, meditations, real therapists, our approach like a self-talk guide, and try to find some balance between these tools. Comprehensive approach. That's important.
Yeah, makes sense. There's lots of terms kind of in this space. Say productive self-talk versus positive self-talk. What's the difference between those two things?
Yeah, it's very simple, because very often I have to say to myself, hey, you're lazy, man. I don't want to swearing. You're lazy. Hey, hold on. Just to be just build your focus. You have to do some podcast, or you have to go to investor and do some pitch for you. I'm very lazy, honestly. I want to play drums in the rock and roll band, honestly, which I'm doing sometimes. That's it. But I don't have a chance to do this. And when I started to think about this, I thought that, hey, maybe there is no only one predestination, only one calling in my life. Maybe I have to do something. Maybe I have to serve for people, for something, for my family. Because I hate to say like, hey, we're doing everything for people, for change the future. Yes, for sure, but we are doing this for earn the money and help and support our families, and become billionaires and help people after this. Because I'm very believe that you have to help to yourself, and then you can help to others on the scale, I mean.
Yeah, very interesting. Wait, so you said your example of productive self-talk there was to say you're lazy, pull your finger out and do some content.
Definitely. Yeah, productive self-talk, it's not necessarily positive self-talk. It's not necessary.
Okay, interesting. Right.
It's not by the way, it's not kind of American style. American style is a positive self-talk, be positive, be open, but it's not true,
It's got a Russian vibe.
A Russian vibe, maybe, but there is a lot of things like this in the army, in all the armies, I think. In professional sports, definitely. Not only in Russian professional sports, in UK professional and everything. When you have to say, hey, you're sucked, and you have to do this, and maybe it's kind of bad for your health in long-term perspective. But if you have to moving forward in short-term perspective, and it's critical for yourself to win Olympic Games, for example, or to sell your company, or to sell your company, for example, And then you can be very positive when you sell the company. You can be positive afterwards. When you won Olympic Games, you can be positive,
Yeah, I wasn't saying Russian in a bad way. I was actually saying that was kind of a good thing, because it's not a fluffy. It's a like reality check, accountability. If you want this to happen, you need to take some action and make stuff happen, rather than this like, oh, it's all great, everyone's going to be brilliant, positive vibe kind of
definitely.
thing.
Definitely. This is we have this thing. It's our gadget. It's a 19 years old gadget. In 2007, Steve Jobs created this. 19 years old, and it's pretty smart, by the way. And this gadget is 300,000 years old. 300,000 years old, our brain. And our brain wasn't created for success or happiness. It was created for survival, and I think for developing.
Great. I love what you said there, actually. I think it was a really important point around, the time of the iPhone. It feels like quite an old device, but then you compare that to the capacity of your brain, and your brain isn't set up to make you a founder of a unicorn. It's like survive. So it's constantly telling you worst case scenario, hold back, don't do this, don't put yourself out of your comfort zone, hold back. So actually what you're saying there, and I'm assuming the app does this, is gives you the opposite of that, of look, you do need to step out of your comfort zone. This is going to get you to where you want to get.
Yeah, 100%. For me, it's my everything what I'm saying right now, it's only my personal opinion and my personal experience. For me, happiness, it's not the meaning of life. For me, the meaning, because it's not based on the nature. For me, the purpose of life and meaning of life, it's surviving and development and impact. that's core idea for me.
Love that.
Awesome. What would you say are the 3 things that anyone can do daily to improve their sort of mental resilience?
Experiencing the tough situations. If you want to develop, you have to be. You don't have to afraid the tough situations. You don't have to afraid tough books, tough movies. I mean, positive tough. I mean, tough in terms of positive, not horrible movies, but movies which demand which demand some thinking. And it's good. The tough is good. It develops you. You have to be surrounding the tough people who have more money, more knowledges, more experience. And by the way, in the volley, I experienced that I'm feeling this discomfort, because everybody are better than me. Everybody are better than me everywhere. Their language better, their achievements better, their financial state better, everything. But afterwards, I understood that only that situation can moving you up on a different level. So I recommend experiencing these things.
So you're saying in order to actually improve your mental resilience, you just need to push yourself to experience difficult situations.
Yeah, and it's the first part, and the second part, try to do some reflection afterwards. Try to analyze your feelings and thoughts. Don't push yourself just strictly and that's it. No, you need to analyze, realize that hey, it's about your skills. It's not about your personality. It's not your fault that you have burned in some country or another country, or you have born with the poor family or something. It's not your fault. But yeah, reflection. Tough situations, tough knowledges, tough people, plus reflection.
Like that.
Really good. And you mentioned that you use AI in your application, right? And I think when we spoke previously, you mentioned something about that majority of the apps are more reactive, right? So you feeling crap, you open the app and you get something out of it. And I think you mentioned that your app is slightly different. It's sort of using AI. It's more sort of proactive in some ways. Can you talk about that a little bit?
First of all, according my opinion, I think if you build your product only with AI, so your product is AI, and your product cannot functioning without AI, it's a bad product. At least according this time. So our product can exist even without AI, and we didn't plan to implement AI into the product. That's the first. So I think the product has to have some methodology, It's the first. The second, in terms of reactive and proactive AI, sure. All the AIs, what we see in the tools on the mental health apps market, and for sure AI assistants, they are reactive. If you don't ask, they don't answer you anything. And we try to do some micro interventions into your life, for sure, after your acceptance, that will pushing you a little bit in some kind of areas according to your goals. Because the people are lazy and they don't want to develop all the time. I love people, so understand me right, please. I love people, and I love myself. But we are not created for success. The success is not natural trait for a human being. And if you want to success, you need to go against nature. And pushing yourself and micro interventions and remindings, it's one of the expression of this pushing, and we're trying to do this. For example, if you conduct your conversation and you stop your correspondence, moving to bathroom or just unfocused or get some call, our app start to remind you, hey, are you here? Would you like to continue our conversation about your anxiety, or you would like to start new dialogue, or you would like to stop, And it will be very useful in terms of retention, for sure, user retention. And I think it's critically important to implement the smart reminding rather than just simple reminding like, hey, come to the app and start using without any particular reason, Smart reminding basic on your psychological type, on your situation, and on your goals. That's our challenge right now in product development.
Interesting. And so are you using the app yourself and your team?
Yeah, definitely. Especially for brainstorming.
Okay.
First, especially for find a balance between personal life and work. Especially for handling and harnessing of our personal doubts, Yeah.
And that balance piece, how does that play out? Because there's many investors I've heard that say that's a kind of a myth, the work-life balance thing. How does that work for you and your team?
I wouldn't tell for my team. There's 16 team members are around the world, and I don't particularly know details of their personal life or and how they find a balance. But I try to be in present. It's very popular thought about, hey, be in present, briefing. but really, if you are in the present for 100%, when you play with your kids and when you do some podcast or do some presentation, when you hold yourself, when you stop yourself, and we try to moving slowly, you are more in this moment, and the quality of what you are doing in this moment go up, raising.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then, so how would the app kind of support with that? The presence piece, is it kind of prepping you before and, okay, you've got this meeting or this podcast or this speech pitch, be present as you're doing it? How does that kind of play out?
Yeah, the self-talk itself, it's a practice to be in the present moment. Because when you conducting the self-talk, you are here, and you have to create the powerful questions for yourself. You are not reacting. We have two parts. We have self-talk part in the app when you conduct your conversation between your sub-personalities, between your two roles, like a coach and client from two roles. And we have another part, it's AI coach. So in the first part, you play only a role in the first part, in the AI coach, you play only from the client role. And in this case, you have pretty reactive role. But when you conduct the self-talk, you have totally proactive role because you have to create the question from the coach role. And answer from the client role. For example, I'm very nervous before my performance, before my presentation. What should I do? Boom, record. Then I'm listening to this guy with another role, with the coach role, with modified voice. This way, I'm distancing myself from myself. I'm very nervous before my performance. What should I do? Blah, blah, blah. And then I got some instructions. Hey, you can talk to this guy only with help questions. Oh my God, what should I ask? What did you already try to overcome your feeling in the past, which successfully worked for you? Boom, record. What did you already try to overcome your feeling? So, and this conversation is recording in one line. Question and answer in one line, and then you will have a chance to listening to your self-talk from third observer role, like you listening the interview with yourself. It's a conversation. It's a verbalization of your inner conversation. And if one moment you don't know what should you ask because you are not therapist, etc., we give you some advice or ready-made powerful questions, which you can use in your conversation.
Cool.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I actually haven't heard of that method, so I'm definitely gonna check it out after our session.
I think it's also a really interesting point on the, if you're comparing with others in the space around that, it's just kind of consuming content, but here you're adding in a third party. It is almost like a virtual therapist to get you to reflect on your own thinking and externalize that internal approach that might not be externalized unless you actually paid for a therapist.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, definitely. You don't have a chance to experience this with your therapist because you play only with client role, and we believe that you as a user can play from the coach role also and develop your self-coaching skills. That's the point. So you act as your own mental coach. It's a skill. It's just separate skill to create the powerful questions.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool.
And if you can't do this, you will become independent. And it's a tough situation for my colleagues. They are losing clients.
Awesome. Armen, what would you say is one piece of advice that you were given in the past, but you going back to that advice?
I wouldn't remember one particular advice about this. I heard in my background, in my past, a lot of advice related with, hey, connecting people, but it's not necessarily true. You don't have to connect a lot of people in particular time. I heard in one of your podcasts this topic, that connecting, I think that connecting is not necessarily, important thing. You have to find some time for your reflection and to be alone and understand that feel loneliness and to be alone is a totally different thing. And by the way, it's one of the reasons why we created our app, because it's a tool to develop yourself when you are alone, to find a lot of things inside of yourself, and using this loneliness situation for your benefit. The second advice, not to be so emotional. I don't want to say it like an ordinary thing, but don't conflict with people maybe, and don't burn the bridges. Can I say that in English? Don't burn the bridges. Don't burn the bridges, because as my advisors, we have a brilliant board of advisors right now. Psychiatrists of Eminem and Jay-Z and Hollywood stars, a senior vice president of LabCorp and Natera and big companies, and one of the first HR director of Yelp and the Real, it's two IPOs companies. And these advisors very often not so helpful for us. You know, they don't have a time, etc. And very often I wanted to say, hey, you're advisors, come on, help me, give me your networking. What the hell? I'm struggling here, you know, because all the respectful and known people very care about their reputation. They want to be associated with only successful products. They want to be a part of the success. They don't want to be a part of the way to the success. You know? That's the thing. So, and it makes me nervous because they have some shares. They have some part of my company and they have to help me. But my coach and advisor, my senior friend, like John Stewart and many others, said me like, hey, bad peace is the better than good war.
This is very Russian saying, I think, isn't it? It is a Russian saying. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. And I try to, put my emotions into my pocket and be very, respectful and friendly.
That's so funny. So what insecurities, like, would you say that success is kind of amplifying for you rather than fixing?
I have doubts. So the main insecurity is doubts on the daily basis. Tons of doubts on the daily basis. You know, doubts about how you're going to support your family, yourself. You are poorer than your friends in terms of, yes, your company costs millions, for example, right now. Yeah, but it doesn't make sense because you don't have millions in your pocket right now, but your friends do to this moment. And and that's insecurity. That's in terms of survival. So you are not confident in your future, and that's shaking me all the time, and make me stronger, I think, in the same time. If I answer your question, or
You absolutely did. Yeah.
Armen, we're going to come to the end of the session, but before we do, I wanted to ask you, what are you most excited about in the next 12 months?
I try to be in present moment. Yeah, but in the same time, I have to do some plans. The most exciting things, we have to raise some money to make our product close to ideal in my mind. I mean, one of the traits of my future product, which is in my mind right now, it's a proactive AI. The product which will have proactive AI, which will communicate with yourself proactively. I think in the next 12 months, we have to create the product which will think with you, but not for you. That's the core thing, because nobody among the 3 million apps in the App Store, nobody does this. Everybody tries to replace yourself, yourself, in general, or your features, I think. So proactive AI first. The second, implementation, combining the self-taught part and AI coach part, because right now it's a kind of parallel functions in my app. I understand that when you go to the popular apps, you have everything in parallel, all the functions, like a meditation content, video content, professional coaches, etc., etc. But I think where they try to become the mental health supermarket, we want to become the mental health boutique with one particular function or two particular functions. And we need to combine, for this function, we need to combine these two functions, self-talk and AI coaching. So fundraising, combining functionality, moving my team for full-time job, because most of them are part-time job. And that's incredible people. I'm very grateful to them, by the way. They work almost without money with me, all the senior level guys. Yeah, that's the main thing. And maybe we have to move to the United States constantly, or to the Europe. I deciding this because we won the startup visa in Portugal, and we are choosing between Portugal and Miami. What would you recommend?
Well, it depends what you want to do. I mean, there's a great surfing in Portugal. So if you like surfing, that's for you. Everything's got pros and cons, right? America will have probably worse food than Portugal, but might support you better maybe as an entrepreneur, taxes and all that kind of stuff. So depends what you like.
Okay. We will think about it.
Yeah. Also, Armen, so this was great. If somebody is curious about your app and thinking about, testing it out, where can they find you? What, is it available globally or only in specific countries?
No, it's available globally. We have users from 85 countries, including UK. Our top countries, United States, India, UK, Russia, Germany, Bangladesh, and Haiti. I don't know why. So, yeah, it's totally in English right now, but you can conduct the conversation into the AI coach in any language, which would you like, including Welsh or Irish or Scottish. We
nice.
tested this. Yeah, and they just need to put into the search line in the App Store or Google Play, "Got It Live," and that's it. Got It Live.
Awesome. Great. Well, Armen, thank you so much for joining us. It was a very interesting conversation. I've really enjoyed it, learned quite a lot, and I thought we were quite sort of knowledgeable in the mental health space. This was something new and very, very interesting. So thanks for sharing this with us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for your time.
Definitely. Thank you very much for having me.